Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to create a REST API using AWS Lambda. To start with, we need to go to the AWS Lambda homepage. You can quickly get there using a simple Google search. Let's say AWS Lambda. So here you have this Amazon.com's Lambda homepage. Here you can see, you can read about the benefits, how it works, and also basically what we are going to do in this tutorial is actually to create an AWS Lambda function. We are going to write our code and upload it to the AWS Lambda console, or we can actually do the inline code editing in the console itself, and then we are going to trigger an HTTP endpoint to trigger the Lambda function, and let's see how it runs. So to do that, we need to sign into the console. So here, if you have So once you are in the console, you can find the Lambda's homepage through the services, and here you have this compute services, and under that you have Lambda. So you can see that I have created a few Lambda functions. We are going to create a new one. You can start from scratch, or you can use the blueprints given by AWS themselves. We are to test the Lambda functions. We are going to create one from scratch, and I'll name it my Lambda function. We are going to be using Node.js, the latest version available, and the role, this is the IAM role. We are not going to look into this quite deeply. We're just going to create a new role from the templates for now, and I'll call it my Lambda function dash role, and that's it. So simple as that. We are going to create our first Lambda function like this. It's going to be quite simple, but let's see how it goes. So it takes some time to create the background infrastructure from the AWS side. And here we have our first Lambda function. So when you have this Lambda function selected, you can scroll down and see the code it's going to execute here. So it says exports.handle, and then there is a ES6 function, and we have the response, and it returns the response. Simple as that. So what actually happens is, here we have this index.handler. Here index is the file that we are going to run through the Lambda function, and handler is the main function which is going to handle the incoming events. So if I quickly test this, I can create a test template, a test event. So I'm actually going to use the Amazon API Gateway AWS proxy as the template, because we are going to use a REST API to work with this function. So I'm going to create I'll name this my Lambda function test event. Okay, I'll just call it test event. And now, so once you test this, click on test, you can see we got the response with the status code 200 and the body saying hello Lambda. So this triggered from, this response we got it from here. Here we have the response code and the body of the response. And now to create a REST endpoint for this Lambda function, we need to add a trigger from the list. You can see there are quite a number of triggers AWS IoT Scales Kit from the cloud front. Well, then we have this S3 SQS SNS triggers as well. For this tutorial, we are going to use an API gateway. It says configuration required. We click on it and we scroll down, and then you can see we can either create create a new one or pick an existing API. We are going to create a new API. For the security, we are going to use an open endpoint for now. And so here you need to note this. If you are using this across several origins, you have to enable CORS. So for that, you have to add this access control allow origin with the domain name to your headers in the response. We'll see how it's done in the next few minutes. So for now, I'm just going to leave everything as it is and just going to add it. And it says unsaved changes. Once we save this, it creates the necessary infrastructure from the backend. And here now we have the API endpoint, which needs to be called to trigger the Lambda function. So once you click on it, I just pressed Control and clicked on it, so it opens in a new tab. So we can see hello from Lambda, the response. It's actually on the network tab. If you see that, I pressed F12 to open the network tab. So if I refresh it, I can see the response is the same, and we have received a 200. So just for fun, we'll just change the response and little c just for now. Let's add this tutorial part, and we're going to save it again. So now if we go there, we can actually test it from here itself. So the response is like that, and if we call the API endpoint, we can see the changes real time. Okay, so let's do something a little bit more advanced, not advanced per se, but like something a little complex. We're going to first take a look at this event that we are receiving from the API endpoint. So this is the sample endpoint that we are going to use, and here you can see there are query string parameters, then path parameters, so things like that. These query string parameters are actually going to be appended to the path of the URL that we are calling. Let's say if I added foo equals bar, so this part, it's actually this just a sec. So this whole part is actually the URL of our Lambda function. It goes like this. So from up to here, you have the URL of the Lambda function, and after this, the appended part here is our query string parameters. So in the event, we can cache these query string parameters like this. Here we have these query string parameters as a JSON object with the key foo and the value bar. So to receive this, actually, for this test event, for now I'll add name equals new user. So this needs to be double quoted and a comma is needed. So here it says there's an error in your JSON event. It says it's a bad string. Pretty bad. What could have gone wrong? Okay, the problem is here we have a trailing comma. We need to get rid of it. Okay, cool. So we are going to save the event, and now to access that query string parameter from our function itself, we have to so this event object is actually this whole function, sorry, this whole object that we are receiving here with the body, the resources, HTTP method and all. And here we have these path parameters and the query string parameters. I'm going to use one of them, the name, the key name from the query string parameters. So first of all, let's just log it in the console and see what's there. It's just query string parameters. If we just if we just log this, we save it and we test it, we can see the logs here in our console. So here we have the query string parameters we received from this event. Usually it's a good practice to tag this beforehand, otherwise you are not able to see this clearly on your consoles. So here you have the query string parameters foo and the name. I'm going to use name and make a greeting to the user, a simple API like that. So we're going to use the name as we're going to use the same values we received from the query string parameters like this, name. And so this name now contains the word, the parameters that we have received from the query string, and we have to check if the name is there, otherwise there can be errors from the backend. So if name is there, we're going to say, now if name is, we're going to check the type of the name, and if it's undefined, undefined is actually a string, then what we are going to do is we are going to add the name user for as its default value. Yeah, simple as that. And then in this string we are going to use, instead of saying hello from Lambda tutorial, we are going to say hello user. Okay, here's something interesting thing that we can do. We can use the template tutorials in ES6 format. So it starts with backticks, and you can just keep typing hello, hello, and the name we can have it inside these placeholders like this, name. So once we do this, it compiles the string with these parameters embedded into the string itself. So let's give it a try. We save it and we test it. So here also you can see it says hello new user. This new user part is actually, we received it from this test object. If we say hello Stefan, we can, and then if we test it, see here we have hello Stefan. So it's simple as that. So how we get it from the URL is we have to say name and let's say John Doe. So once you do that, you actually get the response hello John Doe. So basically we have created our first Lambda function which was triggered from an API, a REST API call. So that's basically how we do it in the minimal way. So a few things to note, that here you have this inline code editor which we used for this this function, and apart from that, we can actually upload a zip file which includes the sources for this the source for this Lambda function with all the modules it needs. We'll actually do something like that as well now.